John Wayne lied to you.
Wow. Welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the podcast featuring me. You know me, I am non-extreme horror writer John Wayne, of the likes of written such as Deadline, The Cadillac Man, All of Your Dreams Will Come True When You're Dead, and many more. Also, I play in the punk rock duo John Wayne Is Dead. More on that coming up. Oh man, is my eye makeup fucked up? I don't even care, dude. This is how we do it on this show. So welcome to the show, everybody. Like I said, I'm John Wayne. I appreciate you very much being here, checking us out for another episode. Thank you again to everybody who's following along on the video feed, which is new and different, something that I've ventured into in this new year. So I believe there's 7 video episodes of this up. Please go check out the video feed if you haven't. It's at John Wayne Lied to You on YouTube. That's John Wayne Lied to You, all one word. So please check that out. If you're not, but if you're just listening to the audio feed, hey, that's great too. I appreciate you. I love you so much. Thank you for your support. So it's another wonderful day here in the Neon Palace of Sin in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't say Nevada, they will kick your ass. So we, of course, are going to get it started here right how we always do, my friends. We've got ourselves some nice, good, hot coffee. Hot black coffee. I love it. This is in my John Wayne Is Dead mug right here. You could see it on the video feed if I could get it not to be blurry. I'm still trying to figure that shit out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Looks great. This is available at johnwayneisdead.com under the custom apparel tab if you would like a coffee mug with this. I've got a lot of my other designs up there too. So I love that black coffee. A lot of people ask, like, you know, you talk about the weed you smoke, you go into detail, what about the coffee that you drink? Well, I'm not really a coffee snob per se. A lot of people, know that, longtime listeners, I did work at Starbucks for like 15 years at one point. I was a store manager for 10 years. But like I love to drink coffee. Don't get me wrong. That's why, I always have a cup of coffee here at the show. That's why, I love to drink coffee, but I had to feign any and all enthusiasm for it. 100%. Like I just didn't give a shit about like, hey, let's fill out our fucking coffee passport, do all of our tastings, whatever. It's coffee, right? I mean, some of it's good, some of it's bad. I drink gas station coffee when I'm driving across the country here. So I really, as long as it's hot and black, baby, that's all I like. So I believe this is from Trader Joe's today. I am drinking. This is non-sponsored content. Hey, Joe. Taking a break from all that trading, why don't you hit up your old Uncle Johnny? Maybe we work something out, huh? Anyway, beautiful. That is glorious. Set that right here next to, we have a special guest in studio today. Chucky is here. Chucky?
You do know who I am. And if you know what's good for you, you are going to love, honor, and obey.
Damn right, Chucky. You tell him. I got that at a con like a year ago. I traded some stuff to it for a guy, from a guy that's next to me. I don't regret it a single bit. Love that doll every minute of it. Now, on to our little bowl of Grandpappy's good green medicine. Today, what we've got, I am smoking from Firestar. Again, love me some Firestar here in Nevada, grown in Las Vegas. Fun fact, Scarlett passed this on to me. They do not use pesticides at Firestar. They use carnivorous bugs. They actually put insects that take care of the other insects in their grow houses. So, hey, if you're into that kind of stuff, it's good to know. So, today we are smoking, I love this name, Super Boof. Super Boof. You boofed it, dude. It boofed. Super Boof. We are sitting here at, oh my goodness, 29% THC, ladies and gentlemen. That is good. So, Chucky, please just hold on to that for the remainder of the show if you don't mind. Thank you again, everybody who liked the Freddy Krueger bong from last week. It is back. Today, I figured, why not? Hey, let's just get another bong rip from our good old friend Freddie K here. FK, that's what I call him. Here we go. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that tastes so good. I guess, like, what is it? Terpenes that, is the smell and the taste of the weed. I don't know. I should know that, all the weed I smoke. But man, that tastes great. And we'll have to hit that again later. And of course, the old Freddy Krueger bong has been treating me just fine. So I got this again. Of course, my favorite dispensary, the only one I go to. Shouts out to local Oasis here in downtown Las Vegas. Love it. Touch it, love it, want more of it. But don't touch anything when you go in there, or anybody. Just don't do that. Anyway, so moving right along. It's been a great week, guys, so far. We're getting prepared for some things that we're going to talk about here in a moment. But, I've been doing a lot of video editing lately. We're talking about how the podcast is now on video. And I also, I've been doing the shit in John Wayne's room, which are just short 6-7 minute episodes of me talking about things that I have here in my office, in my studio. I did my guitars. This last one that came out, I talked about the John Wayne is Dead front page that I have from Arizona, the Phoenix newspaper there, that the day that John Wayne died. And I talk about all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about some art coming up in the next one, and all kinds of things. So I've been doing all this video stuff, and I've been working on a lot of video this week. Actually, it's taken up quite a bit of my time so far since we spoke last, my friends. And part of that video editing is, I want to just remind you, is my OnlyFans. I am part of one half of an OnlyFans duo, Puss and Goose, with my good friend Dana Marie King, Dana Graham, a.k.a. Parenthesis, a.k.a. Octoburrows. Very talented tattoo artist, very talented performer. And we have come together to form this smutty, slutty performance art that we do on our OnlyFans called Puss and Goose, PUSSNGOOSE. Check it out if you are so inclined. It's reading, it's some sexy reading, some sexiness happening, and sexy looking people with paintings that are being done. It's a beautiful conglomeration of just things, and you're gonna want to check it out. So please check out our OnlyFans, Puss and Goose, and see what we've been up to. Give me some critiques on my my video editing and my color correction and my color grading, which there's a difference, and all that stuff. And we appreciate the support always. So and speaking of email me, guys. I don't know, like, are we shy or do you just don't even care? But no emails yet. It's like the Corey hotline all over again, guys. I'm sitting here all lonely, like waiting, on my bed, I'm sitting there on my stomach, kicking my legs behind me, just sitting here like this with my princess phone underneath, just waiting for it to ring, and it will not ring. No one will call. Maybe I just have to be resigned to that. Maybe this is just my place in life now. But if you'd like to ask any questions about me, about the show, make any comments on any of the things I've talked about, weigh in on, Mom's Movie Corner or any of the books in which you're reading, for anything at all, please email us at johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail.com. It's all one word, johnwayneliedtoyou@gmail. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to address anything, and happy always to speak to anybody who wants to reach out, who listens. So I appreciate all of that so much, all the interaction online. But hey, send Uncle Johnny an email, just even to say, hey, how you doing? Or hey, you're looking good. You're doing a good job, or you're doing a bad job. I don't know. Just reach out. Anyway, I'm there. The limb has been extended. If you're looking in the camera, I'm extending my limb right now. So there you are. So we were talking about video editing. We're talking about a big announcement, something that I've been getting ready for this week. I have announced this a couple times, guys. If you've been listening to the show, I think the last 2 shows, I did bring this up. I did talk about this and drop a little knowledge here. I waited till the end of the show, though, I believe, just to kind of like, if you're listening. But here's a big official announcement. March 8th, my new novel, Game Face, comes out from Avant Pop Publishing, and in conjunction with Awesome Dude for Life Press, joint release. It is coming out March 8th. We are having a huge event here in Las Vegas. It is a performance art event, and it is going to be amazing. It's free to get into. It's going to be a whole interactive experience. So please, March 8th, check it out. I'm going to post this on John Wayne. Actually, it's already on johnwaynelisdead.com under the shows page. Click on it. It's going to tell you where the gallery is that we're doing the event at and how to get there. So if you're local, come out, support, not only support me, support Avant Pop, support the press. They work very hard for the arts community here in Las Vegas. And I know I appreciate them very much. I know a lot of other people appreciate what they do. So come out to, if you hate me, come out to support them. And hopefully you don't hate me and you want to come buy the new book and check out the whole shebang we're going to put on. So, you're like, okay, John Wayne, you're talking about this fucking book. It's going to come out. What the hell is it? Okay, so let me tell you what Game Face is. A young man named Blake has, he's been, he's formed a special bond with his uncle over game shows. Now, his uncle, he doesn't want to play game shows. He doesn't want to be on them. He just wants to be in the audience, and as many as he can. And he's done it throughout his life. He's been on hundreds of audiences of game shows. He documents them all on videotapes, on DVRs, on hard drives. Well, we start the book. He is dead. And Blake has just come from his funeral. And now he believes that his uncle is trying to ask him for help from beyond the grave through the television via game shows. So Blake does a little deep diving into his uncle's death, what caused it. There's a lot of mystery. He finds one of the videotapes at his uncle's apartment, goes to play it, hoping it has some kind of answer, something about the death, something about what his uncle was up to before he died. And Blake finds himself sucked into the videotape. Now, he has until the videotape ends to navigate through all of the game shows that are recorded on there and recorded on top of each other, and find his uncle, get him out of the tape, all before it ends, or he'll be stuck on the tape forever. And oh, by the way, these game shows, they've gone through a little bit of some bizarre changes throughout. So what you're used to from, like, say, your Family Feud or your Wheel of Fortune, it's going to have quite a different element to it. So that is it. That's Game Face. This has been a long time in the works. I wrote this actually like a little while ago. It's been through a few drafts, and now I feel like it's where it needs to be. It's strong. And I'm happy to have it released and happy to have it out for you. Keep an eye on the website, johnwaynelisdead.com. Keep an eye on my social media. Just follow me at johnwayneisdead on Instagram or TikTok, because there's going to be packages that I'm putting together. You guys, some of you know I like to do little packages with my releases when, like, new release, something comes out. I did the 12-sided die for Mage of the Hellmouth. I did knives for for Deadline. I did guitar picks and backstage passes for Toured to Death. There's going to be a package like that goes along with Game Face that will be announced very soon. So keep an eye on the stars, True Believer, and johnwayneisdead.com for that info. So if you want to get one of those packages before they sell out, because they're limited and they always usually sell out pretty quick. So keep an eye on that. I will be announcing them, but the packages will come out very quickly. So very soon, I mean. Without further ado, all this hubbub, all this talk about Game Face, I of course have put together a little teaser video. Again, the video editing I'm doing for the book, to advertise it, to kind of tickle everyone's taint about it. And I'm going to show it to you right here, right now. This is strap in, strap on, strap up, whatever you do, strap it, because here is your first glimpse, the first teaser, because there will be at least 2 other trailers to follow this that advertise the book. This is the first one. Please enjoy the teaser trailer for my new novel, Game Face.
Al Marjo!
I'd like to buy a vowel.
All right.
An A?
Of $1 million. I like it better. Sounds like more money when you say that, doesn't it?
From our studios in Hollywood, it's America's most watched TV show.
Circle against the square.
Deep.
There's a G.
Don't forget there's also some whammies.
That's just the story.
I'd like to solve the puzzle.
Yeah.
All right. That was the teaser for my new novel, Game Face. It's a lot of fun. It's a little bit, it's got some silly elements to it, but still sticks with the John Wayne grit that you've come to know and love, or not love. I don't really know. But anyway, it comes out, I guess, again, I said March 8th from Avant Pop Publishing in partnership with Awesome Dude for Life Press. Please check it out. It will be available, of course, everywhere when it comes out. But if you're in Las Vegas, come to the release event. You shan't regret it. In other news, I wanted to announce this. This is it's a kind of book related. It's not a what you reading first segment, but I wanted to say huge shouts out and congratulations to a friend of mine and a well-known author that I'm sure a lot of you have read and know, Adam Caesar. He is, of course, written many awesome horror novels, but he is known right now. He wrote the Clown in a Cornfield series, which is just dropped the trailer for the film version of Clown in a Cornfield, and I checked it out this morning. It looks very fucking good. Those books are like, I guess they're supposed to be on the YA tip, the Clown in a Cornfield ones, but regardless, Adam's a great writer. All of his work that I read, I fucking love. He's one of my favorites. Clown in a Cornfield is no exception. Please, so if you haven't checked it out, check out Adam. And if you haven't checked out the trailer, it's everywhere. I think I saw it on bloodydisgusting horror.com this morning. So it looks really cool. And congratulations to Adam Caesar. Love you, man. Anyway, moving right along. Patreon. Bing, 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 bing. Hello. Shouts out to all my Patreon supporters right now. I love you guys. Everyone that's signed up on the tiers helps me tremendously, and I appreciate the support always, and more than you can imagine. I really, really, truly do. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/johnwayneisdead, or of course, just go to johnwayneisdead.com. All of the links are there for you. One of the things that everybody gets, no matter what tier you sign up for on my Patreon, is access to the Awesome Dude for Life bonus podcast, which is where I talk to other artists from around the world, really, that I meet when I'm on the road, that I've met through my travels, that I've met through, the business or whatever. And we always have a great talk. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially entertainment show wise or podcast wise, because I get to have a conversation with another artist. We talk about their craft, we talk about their process, we really dive deep, and but it's a fun conversation. Of course, if I'm involved, it's going to get a little silly, which it always does. And it's a lot of fun. And that also is video and audio available right there on my Patreon wall. There is 140 episodes out there. You get access to all the back episodes as well. And it's a lot of fun, and I think well worth it, just to throw a couple bucks at old Uncle Johnny here and check out all the cool people that I've gotten. I've been lucky enough to talk to. Speaking of being lucky, this week on the show, on the Awesome Dude for Life bonus podcast over on Patreon, I had the pleasure of talking to one of my favorite authors out there, Mary Sangiovanni. She has been writing for a while. She's very successful, and she runs the book and comic book store Vortex Books and Comics in Pennsylvania with her husband Brian Keene. And we just had a great conversation. It was a lot of fun to talk to Mary. She's a great guest. She talks about everything that we discuss in great detail. And it was a lot of fun to chat with her. So I am going to, as you know, what I like to do. I like to drop a little sample of what's going on over on Patreon. And so I'm going to play you some of my conversation that I had with Mary Sangiovanni. And hopefully, you want to hear the rest and see what else is going on. You go on over to patreon.com/johnwayneisdead. And you get access to the rest of this episode with Mary and all the other episodes, plus all the other cool things that I put on there. New John Wayne is Dead video in the works. That's going to drop on my Patreon first. So things like that, you get, all kinds of stuff. Just check it out. But more so than that, please enjoy my conversation with author Mary Sangiovanni. You are a very talented writer, creator. I very much enjoy your stuff. Tell the people about you, what you're writing, or what you kind of do. Give the Mary rundown for people.
The Mary rundown. Okay, basically I do primarily cosmic horror. And it used to be when I first started writing, before I really knew what cosmic horror was, I used to tell people I write monster stories. I tend to lean toward the supernatural. I think because also being a true crime fan, I think there's so much awfulness in the world that for me, any kind of speculative fiction, for me personally, is an escape. So anything I have to say about the world or anything that, that I want to, I guess, indulge in any kind of speculative fiction is an escapist kind of thing for me. So I definitely lean toward more supernatural. And I found that with cosmic horror, when I started reading more about it, and then for a while I did a podcast on cosmic horror in writing and in pop culture and things like that, I found like that's actually what I've been writing, because that taps into all the things about speculative fiction, honestly, across all three genres, horror, science fiction, fantasy. It's a little bit of all of them. So, right. and it's an incredibly fluid subgenre, in my opinion, because like that's its nature is to, I mean, and I can wax like totally nerd about what I define cosmic horror as, but basically, suffice it to say, I think that's what I write. I basically write stories that fall one way or another into the cosmic horror genre. And I'm trying to do a little bit more outside that wheelhouse, I guess, a little bit more visceral stuff, a little bit more fantasy stuff, a little bit more thriller stuff that's maybe less supernatural, but that's where my comfort level is. It's definitely in cosmic horror.
Okay, so just to indulge me, what do you think defines cosmic horror? What, like you said, like you could wax forever, but like I could totally nerd out. Give me some give me the your nuts and bolts of that. I'm okay. So
for me, and doing the podcast on cosmic horror, cosmic shenanigans, what I came to discover was that cosmic horror seems to be able to be broken down into 4 basic ideas. So the first principle is that there's an antagonistic force. It's not always evil. A lot of times it's indifferent, but it's an antagonistic force that is so vast and so great and so large that it's almost incomprehensible to human beings. The second principle is that the nature of that, not so much the discovery that it exists, although that's part of it, but the resulting realization of what that existence, that the existence of that entity actually means, it sort of dwarfs humanity. So there's a sense of nihilistic, I guess, like almost like a turn toward the nihilistic, because nothing you do would really matter in the face of something so vast and so huge and so all-encompassing. The third thing, and this thing is always, I think, the thing that I always loved about it, is that there's an absolute fluidity in cosmic horror, and in that it's that nothing is stable, nothing is solid, nothing is secure, nothing is for sure. Like you can't rely on anything you've ever known as being a constant truth. So, and that applies to the body. A lot of times cosmic horror can be body horror because bodies are changing. It's where you get all that, insanity that you almost always see in Lovecraftian stuff and cosmic horror stuff, because the mind is fluid and the mind can be easily broken. Time and space, even that, even reality itself, it's all fluid. And so you can't really count on anything to be what you think it was. And then to me, the fourth principle, and the one that people sometimes touch on, is that there are things worse than death, that there are fates worse than death, that the presence of these entities basically means that, much more horrible things can happen to you. And I think that competent cosmic horror usually gets 1 or 2 of those. Good cosmic horror will cover 3 of them, but great cosmic horror gets all 4.
Hits all 4 of those. Do you have can you point to one work that hits all 4 of those?
I would say in a subtle way, the movie The Endless. If you ever see The Endless, it actually does touch on all 4.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
It's not. I'm gonna dip out of view for a second and grab my tea. It's not terribly graphic. It's not terribly violent.
Mhm.
But it does suggest that all four principles are present. I get the guys who did it, Benson and Moorhead. They really do get cosmic horror, and almost everything they do sort of fits into that. The movie The Endless is actually in the chronological timeline of their movies because they're all kind of connected. I guess it's technically the second one. I mean, in chronology, their movie Resolution actually falls first. But
I'm looking at it
most
right now.
people will watch The Endless and then go back and watch Resolution, because if you watch Resolution before that, you don't really get all of it until The Endless.
Okay. I'm looking at these. I haven't seen these, but it says people also recommend The Void, which I love. The Void.
Yes, I do. Yes,
that is an awesome cosmic horror. I actually have Scarlett bought me a special edition VHS of it. It comes in this big white box that you open, and it's got this blue tape that's just The Void.
Nice.
Yeah, that movie. God, that movie's awesome too. But The Endless, okay, because I dig that my work has a lot of touches of cosmic stuff in it too. So I'm always interested to talk about that kind of stuff. And then I don't, you were talking your supernatural always shows up in your your stuff, and outside of that show, I keep thinking about that show because my sister loves it so much. Supernatural. I don't even know I don't know, I enjoy stuff like that more myself personally as well. You were talking about reality versus because I don't even want to look at anything right now. I mean, I was we're talking VHS tapes. I collect every show I go to, I'll usually pick up one or two old B movie horror movie VHS tape, and I put one in the other day, The Mangler, and I was just watching the trailers before it. I was like, man, I didn't fast forward. I just watched them all, and just what a better time. What a time. What a simpler day this was. It just that's the escape right there. Watching trailers on a VHS, in your fucking living room. That's the escape. The reality, or the opposite of that, I guess, would be throwing in a DVD that the trailers are just future atrocities that are going to happen before you watch your the whatever. But I do appreciate that kind of stuff because I like mind bending kind of things. I like the psychological stuff, and of course the cosmic horror. So. Do you have a favorite author or work? I know we talked about The Endless, and or a work that you could point to that inspires you the most, or that you think is very important in that regard.
It's funny. I guess I have a couple, because you find, I think everybody probably of my generation of writers would say Stephen King. And Stephen King has done some cosmic horror. I think Stephen King probably ignited the idea that horror can be fun, and that it can actually get you in the feels, that you can that you can really tap into sort of the wonder of speculative fiction. So I think a lot of it in the beginning, I did, I read the ones I figured I was supposed to be reading. I read Stephen King and Clive Barker. Clive Barker, I think, does cosmic horror too a lot, but it almost never translates well to film. And I think it's because the people translating it don't really get what makes cosmic horror scary. And it's the same thing with Lovecraft.
Their
when I
grasp
discovered
is
Lovecraft,
sorry, I was starting to jump in here just because we just went last week, because speaking of Clive Barker, Hellraiser was out in the theater, a 4K for just 2 days.
Oh, cool.
And
nice.
we went and saw it. It was awesome. I like Hellraiser 2 a little bit better, but just to see it get to see it on the big screen is awesome. And so anyway, Clive Barker, I'm sorry.
The funny thing is that the couple of times I met Doug Bradley, he's such a quiet, reserved, proper English gentleman, and he's so like almost cuddly that to see him in this pinhead, it just messes me all up now. But no, yeah, I think something like Hellraiser to me, it definitely it's cosmic horror. I mean, it has the fluidity of the body changing, and it has entities which you get the impression serve a greater entity, almost bigger than we can imagine.
Yeah.
There's interdimensional doorways, and there are definitely like fates worse than death.
Oh yeah.
So it really kind of covers.
They pretty
all,
much say that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of the point. But I don't know. There's a lot of like, I think, translations to that miss something. They miss, I think, either the beauty of it or the horror of it. They get one, but they don't usually get the other when they're translating it. Like,
right.
I think as much of a deviation from the actual story that the remake of Hellraiser is, I think it comes a little bit closer to how I imagine Clive Barker must have imagined the Cenobites.
Did I watch that one? Which one is that? Is that the one where the detective that goes to the room, or no?
It's the one with the house that sort of shuts down, or like the house itself kind of.
Oh, and the guy's like typing like that one. The guy like eats the confession or something. It's all like weird Cenobites.
I think so.
Because it's not Doug Bradley, it's that other guy. People are
exactly.
screaming. People are screaming at this fucking right now. Like, God damn it, it's this. Yeah, that one I like. It's got like a Finchy 7 kind of feel to it. If it's the one we're talking about. Because I remember liking that one too when it came out. Like, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I have the Blu-ray, and I think I busted it out not too long ago and showed it to Scarlett, and I was like, I guess this isn't as good as I thought it was. Like, it's cool. Like, the Cenobites are cool. Like, I like the idea of the guy the big fat one that just types and like eats the fucking words and spits out your punish or something. Like, it had cool elements, but I think the acting of that detective kind of like, I was like, oh, maybe I thought you were a better actor earlier, but
that's for anyone who's an independent filmmaker, because I also had a podcast for a while where we just talked about terrible movies, and it was fantastic because I am a big sucker for terrible movies. But the one thing I could say is, if you're gonna, no matter how low your budget is, for the love of God, please find actors who can act, because I can put up with almost. I mean, I will forgive almost anything. But if they can't act, it pulls me right out. Oh yeah,
I was going to say you get taken right out of it because you're like,
yeah,
why did they keep that? Your mind just like spirals off. Like, what are they talking about? Is that a tape? Yeah. Is this real? Is that a cardboard person?
And you need a good, I think, 40 years between when the movie's made and when you watch it to appreciate bad acting. Because I think we were talking about escapist stuff. To me, the pinnacle of absolute escapism is the unashamed, unabashed way that the 80s did fantasy. When you look at like the Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where all the women have the teased up hair.
I love it.
And like if they could, they had like shoulder pads in their armor. I mean, it couldn't be more 80s fantasy. And it was just, I mean, the acting is not good. The scenes are good. The sets are pretty cool. The special effects are 80s special effects, but
Arnold looks great.
Yeah.
Looks great.
You need, I think, you need time to have a nostalgic appreciation for stuff like that.
I absolutely agree. I'm a sucker for the 80s and maybe early 90s. It's like sci-fi creature type things, like but stupid, like Space Truckers. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's just silly, but it's got weird space stuff in it, and Guyver, and like fucking, I don't know. I like those kind of things. What do you have since you have that podcast, do you have a favorite horrible movie that you go to?
I do. There were, and we would watch, I mean, we would actually delve the depths of places like Tubi and YouTube and
Awesome.
try to find the worst horror movies we could. Not ones that are just sort of boring and ineptly made, but like really, truly terrible.
Uh-huh.
And the one that we found that was the new low bar for all terrible movies was something called Things. It is so bad that even the credits are crooked.
So I have to we have to thank one Carrie Nicely, aka CV Hunt, for introducing Things to me many years ago, or several years ago. I own it on DVD. I've watched it probably more times than anybody should watch it. Okay, hey, that was some of my conversation that I had with Mary San Giovanni, talented, amazing author and proprietor or half proprietor, co-proprietor of Vortex Books and Comics, Comics and Books, one of those. It is out there in Pennsylvania. It's in Columbia or Columbus. We talked about this too, Mary. I'm sorry. It's in one of those. Look it up. That's part of the fun. They have great programming there. Check out that and check out Mary. And for the rest, of course, for the rest of this interview and our conversation, go over to patreon.com/johnwayneisdead. So, moving right along, we were talking about books earlier, a little book heavy on the thing. I can't help it. I'm a writer. I think we'll just move right on into our little segment here that I like to call What You Reading For?
What you reading for?
So, what you reading for this week? We are showcasing another very talented author who also happens to be a very good friend of mine. I'm lucky enough to have these people in my life and have them as I can call them friends. Today we're going to talk about Victims by Christopher Rufty. Christopher Rufty is he's a very prolific author. He's written a ton of great books. Lately, he seems like he's just like a killer, just putting out hits. He's like the killer bees back when the Astros were like Bagwell and shit. That's him, but instead of home runs, it's just like book runs. Yeah. So anyway, recently I wrote the introduction for Rufty's a story collection that just came out. You can check that out. And so we keep in touch. If you're a member of the Patreon, he's been on a couple episodes. We like to talk about writing and music. He's also a killer musician. And I met him, or I came about knowing him through reading the book Pillowface, which I talk about in the introduction that I wrote. Pillowface, if you haven't read it, it's a slasher story, kind of where the slasher, the Michael Myers, not Freddy Krueger, but like Leatherface kind of character is befriended by a young child, and they have this genuine relationship, and then there's, as you can imagine, a contradiction that happened. It's hilarious. No, it's a great book. So that's how I got to know Rufty. So I've read a lot of his stuff, and I just so happened to see, I was flipping through, I saw this one called Victims. Also, I noticed at the beginning he dedicates it to the author Ray Garton, which I've talked about. He's been on What You're Reading For. I think we talked about Sex and Death in Hollywood was the one I believe that I talked about. But man, he's coming back because I've read a bunch of his stuff too. So we even talked recently about that, about our love for Ray Garton. And I was like, I gotta showcase my man on here, because Victims is so well done, such a rad story. It's so compelling. You want to keep on reading it. It's about, first of all, it grabs you from the beginning, because the start, if you read a lot of horror, you read a lot of maybe like tropey things or something like that. Something starts and you're like, okay, well, we're getting it going. This is how it's gonna start. But then he like completely switches that. So if like whatever you're anticipating to get to, you're like, all right, let's get through this, we can get to the next. No. He totally completely flips that, and it begins like completely crazy. So we're following this serial killer character who's on the run, or he's not really on the run. He's just killing and going. He's has this odd relationship with his mother, who he's killed, and just so happens that his uncle is a private eye that's been chasing him from Florida. But where he has at now, he has come to be fixated on this young girl. Just so happened to see her because she reminds him of his mother, and he will do anything to get to this girl and do his what he's gonna do to her. And so not only does this start with a banger twist, this ends with this ending is like, geez, I texted him after I read it. Like, I've only texted a couple of people after I've read their books to be like, what the fuck? Or, holy shit, man, that's awesome. He was one of them, because I was like, oh, fuck. The ending, again, I don't know what you're anticipating. You're not going to know how this ends until you read it. And it is so fucking worth it. The whole ride, the killer's whole stalking of the girl is like this true crime freak because her mother had been killed. She's kind of, she's chasing him, he's chasing her. It's this whole thing. You want to keep turning the pages because you want to know where it goes, because Rufty is a great, excuse me, dude, because Rufty is an amazing writer. So check it out. This week's What You Reading for Victims by Christopher Rufty. So that was
What You Reading For?
All right. So without further ado, I think that brings us to our next segment, a very popular little segment here on the show. And she couldn't be happier. That's right, everybody. Put your hands together at home and join us welcoming my mom for another edition of Mom's Movie Corner. Mom, get on out here. Thank you, John Wayne. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Mom's Movie Corner. Thank you for joining me again. It's so lovely to see you all. Very lovely. Anyway, today's movie is one that I enjoyed quite a bit. I had to say, it was the first time I had seen it. John Wayne showed it to me and his lovely Scarlett the other night, and we both really surprisingly enjoyed it because sometimes John Wayne doesn't have the best taste in movies. We don't like to tell him that, but he likes a lot of things that we like. They're silly. They're just silly. That's the best way. If you don't have anything nice to say, they're a little silly. And this movie, it is silly, but it's silly in a good way. But we thought it was going to be one of the sillier ones. Turned out I liked it quite a bit. Now, this movie is called Stay Tuned. It came out in 1992. It's directed by Peter Hyams. It stars the great, gone too soon for my taste, if you ask me, John Ritter, Pam Dauber, Eugene Levy, and another top-billed actor who's since been disgraced, and we're not going to talk about him, but he does play the villain, ironically enough. So, anyway, Stay Tuned is about this couple. John Ritter's the husband. He's loves his TV. He loves his TV, loves his programs. Reminds me of my boys. They used to love their programs. They love it. They still do today. Not as much. I wouldn't let them sit in front of TV. I said, no. You're not going to become a bunch of couch potatoes on my watch. You're not going to let your brains rot on that TV. But they sneak it sometimes. I know they're boys. They get in trouble. Anyway, John Ritter's character, he cannot control himself. He's got to be watching TV all the time. His wife is mad at him. She's excelling in her job. His job is taking a crap. Everything is going bad for him, but as long as he has TV, he's fine. One night, the devil comes and sells him a satellite dish and a weird remote controlling cable box and says, here's this is free. Check it out. You're gonna love it. And he does love it. He turns it on. He gets a big screen TV. The shows are just a little bit weird, though. He says, what kind of shows is this? I don't know what this is. Anyway, he goes in the backyard. He gets sucked into the satellite dish. And now he and his wife are sucked in there as well. They're fighting. I don't want to spoil it all, but they're both in the shows. And that they have 24 hours. If they live, they could come back to reality or back from hell or wherever the hell they are. And see their kids again, and their marriage will be so great. But if they don't, they're fucked. Oh, sorry, they are screwed if they don't do it. And believe me, it's not that easy. I love this movie because it was so imaginative how it took the game shows and other shows, so many sitcoms that it just played on him, and they were very weird. They had weird names, or the same name, different strokes. It was a show about two old men sitting on a couch, each having strokes. different strokes. Anyway, it's that kind of comedy throughout. It is a little silly, but it's very well done. Now, this movie is not very long. It's a good 90 minutes, so in and out, you feel good. You get to see the great John Ritter. And throughout this movie, they learn not only to traverse such obstacles as evil things and whatnot, but they learn a lot about themselves and who they are and what they're made of. And I think what it is to be a family. That's right. Also, hilarity ensues. I love this movie. I'm so glad I got to watch it. I will be watching this one again, that's for sure. And I give it enthusiastic mom's thumbs up. I love this movie. Please check it out. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Mom's Movie Corner. Bye. Thank you, John Wayne. Thanks, Mom. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Always a delight. Speaking of delight, I had a little, ulterior motive in having Mom review that movie today and having us watch it all together as a family the other day. It was the first time Scarlett had seen it as well, and she enjoyed it quite a bit. But I wanted my mom to talk about it, and then I wanted to kind of talk about it because we're tying this all together in a way that right now comes into play. That movie was a huge inspiration to my new book, Game Face. I probably saw that movie, as a kid, upwards of 10 times. It was one of those movies that was on HBO. That would just be on it, and you'd see it like, okay, it comes on at 10 a.m., and then again, it comes on again tonight at 3, and then it comes on again at 8 p.m. So you look at the channel thing, we'd actually have to look in the newspaper, the channel guide, and see if it's coming on, or just flip through and happen to find it. HBO was just the only movie channel we had in my house growing up. It seemed like, I think, maybe we got Cinemax later on or something, but we always had HBO, it was like, hey, we get HBO, all right? And we did. So there were other movies like that I could think of. My sister, Carrie, could definitely attest to Stay Tuned being on consistently, constantly. Another one that I remember watching a lot was Mannequin. Anytime that was on, we just like put it on. Or leave it, just like, oh no, I'll watch it. I don't care what you're watching. But I love Mannequin. That movie rules. And this was just one of those movies. And the idea of it, it captured my imagination, not only as I went to write this book and put this book together. As a kid, it captured my imagination because, I thought it was such a cool idea to be sucked into the TV. You watch, as a kid, you're watching TV constantly, or most of us are. I know I did. We watched a lot of TV. So to then see a movie where the characters are sucked into the TV and they're on shows that are similar to shows you probably shows you watch, but they're all like demonic and evil because, of course, this whole thing is a part of hell and Satan and all that, that they throw that angle in there. Which I appreciate, and I do eat it up. But who wouldn't? Like, what kid wouldn't like that? It wasn't even scary. I was older. I don't think I was old enough to be scared. Well, I've always been a giant pussy when it comes to things like, movies scaring me. But I wasn't scared of this movie. None of the weird monsters or anything. I was just enthralled by the idea of like, man, can you get pulled into the TV? Is this possible? Do we need a satellite dish? Do we need to make a pact with the devil? How do I make this happen? And I thought about it all the time. I probably drew pictures of it when I was a kid, when I was drawing all this stupid stuff. Getting sucked into the TV, going through like crazy ass shows, but they've been turned on their ear and zapped with the power of Satan. I loved it. So, when I just came up with the idea for this book, I was already kind of like thinking about wanting to do something with game shows. I think I was driving around in one of my many driving trips for hours when I'm just like, whatever. I think I was listening to like, I don't know, maybe Doug Loves Movies podcast. And, he loves game shows and he, does the whole show is like a game show. And so I started thinking about game shows and the ones that I used to watch and remembering them. And I was like, man, then you get the little ideas start getting planted and germinating in your head. And you're like, well, maybe this could happen. This could happen. So that was going on in my brain. And I remember just jotting it down and, okay, let's come back to that. And when I was home later, I was here in the office, sitting at my desk. I was drawing stuff for the Gas Money magazine. Check them out, Gas Money magazine, issue 1 and 2, written and illustrated by yours truly, johnwayneliedtoyou.com. I was going through movies on, like, I think it was on Tubi or something, and it's just like, hey, what about this stupid shit? And I was like, I love that stupid shit. Hadn't seen it, since I was a kid. Put it on, still held up great for me. I mean, kidding me? Like, fucking Ritter, he's a fucking man, dude. So I was like, oh, I love this. And then it clicked where I was like, oh, maybe I could do something like a riff on this trope, kind of, but it's all game shows, So then I was like, all right, now the germination is germination. Damn it. Anyway, it was the juices were flowing and the ideas were going. So I started kind of jotting notes, and I actually have, in my sketchbook, which is over there, I started drawing pictures first before I was doing the characters I wanted. I was thinking about which game shows I wanted and what I would do to change them to make them give them the weird feel I wanted them to have throughout the tape. And all of the hosts are, they have these different kind of qualities about their appearance. So I started drawing like those and showing those kind of things. Or not showing them, just drawing those in conjunction with me, like writing character descriptions, and then started writing the scenes. And so I have some sketches. I don't know if they'll be, they're not going to be included in the book, at least this first release, but I will show some of them here on the feed, most likely put them in here in the video. So if you're watching, I've probably overlaid some of these images here or not, so you'll have to check and see. So then from there I started writing it, and like I said, it went through a few drafts, because I did have a version of this that I submitted after I'd first written it, that it just wasn't ready. And so it's something that you take back and you're like, all right, let's hit the sword with the fucking hammer, sharpen it, and that's exactly what I did. And then and like, that's something you have to do sometimes. Many other, writers that happen to be listening, that are getting started or trying to get something published, sometimes you just gotta, you have to go through a lot of drafting processes sometimes. So I did with this, and like I said, at the top of the show, I feel like it's, right where it needs to be. I'm very excited about it. But I'm very excited. I was very excited about this movie and getting to, show Mom and Scarlett, and having, just being able to talk about it, how it influences, like, you never know how things sometimes they could be like, you won't even be thinking. Inspiration is weird, right? It's bizarre. It has nothing to do with anything most of the time. Sometimes in the movies or TV shows, it's like, oh man, what are we gonna do? I don't know. What could we do? Geez, it would be so great if we could make money from titties or something. And they look over and they see a titty and they're like, oh, that's what we'll do. But inspiration doesn't always work like that. It's not necessarily because you saw something right then in the moment. It could be because you saw something 25 years earlier, and you had to wait all this time for some other little thing to click that memory back, and those two things meet, and then there's your inspiration. And whether you pursue it or just throw it away, it's up to you, I guess, at that point. But it just comes out of nowhere sometimes. Sometimes it does happen when you're like, oh, Freddy bong. I imagine the guy sitting at home with this. He's got his Freddy doll and he's got his bong, and he's like, yeah, Freddy, man, I love my bong too, man, but I also love my Freddy, What if? And then it's like a Reese's peanut butter cup situation. I mean, it really truly is. And inspiration does happen like that sometimes, but it's just interesting how it can come out of nowhere or come from somewhere so long ago to bring you up to now and be so vibrant and effective as if you were maybe just experiencing it, as if I were just watching Stay Tuned for the first time. Be interesting to go back and watch it, knowing what I know. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Knowing what would I know? I don't know. I'd just be watching my younger self like watch it and just being like, God, you're such a fucking dork, dude. Don't be a dork forever. Jesus Christ. Come on, let's pull it together. But no. So anyway, I wanted to talk about that because I'm excited for my new book to come out. I'm excited. Hopefully you watch Stay Tuned and then pick up the book and come on out to see the book release show. All of the details are on johnwayneisdead.com. March 8th, 2025, Game Face comes out in your mouth. The teaser will be available that we saw also in the top of the show soon for you to be able to share and post other places. I hope you do that. Help to get the word out about the book. Don't forget that I'm putting together some special packages with some special things that will be on the website very soon. So if you want to get on those, get a little extras with it. Also, the book will be for sale on the website and all the other places on March 8th. But if you want me to put a signed copy in your hot little hand right that night as the water is broken in the vaginal birth canal of this book is pushed out into the world through labia that you could never imagine having existed until you've seen it, and then you get one just like that from me, and I'll sign it to you. I'll also sign it if you get it from the website too. But wouldn't it be better to be there to see that, experience that? I think so. Anyway, thanks guys, everyone, for checking out another episode. If you are new to the show, thank you so much for checking it out. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out my Patreon, especially if you'd like to see the rest of my conversation with Mary San Giovanni, and check her out regardless. Patreon.com/JohnWayneIsDead. Follow me at JohnWayneIsDead on Instagram and TikTok. johnwayneisdead.com has all of your John Wayne is Dead needs. My shows are up there. Hey, Ghoulish Book Festival in San Antonio, Texas. I'm coming your way very soon after the release of the new book, so I should have some in hand for that as well. So all the details are on there. Check it out. Again, thank you guys so much, and have a good one. Till next time, hey, Game Face.
John Wayne lied to you. Wow.